Hi guys, welcome to SydneyGA. I'm your host, David, also known as Dal157. Alongside me and my two close friends. I'll let them introduce themselves for today.
I'm Nathan, Nathan on Omnidex, Purple Fish on Discord, if you ever see me there. Not that I frequent the main code. You might know me from, I do write-ups of all the events I go to on Reddit. I guess we'll put them in the description. But yeah, I'm just a GA player in Sydney.
Hi guys, my name's Christian. I'm known as Roxas on the GA scene. That's it for me.
Advocate right player of Sydney, pretty much. The first topic that we're going to talk about is something that just came out recently. It's the June 2nd, 2025 ban list. The changes that occurred was that Dissonant Fractal moved straight to Category 3. Crystalline Mirror moved to Category 2, alongside Lost in Thoughts, also moved up there. Scepter Lumina has now been removed, and a Mercenary Blade has been added to Category 1. What do you guys think about the ban list, like the changes and things like that?
Dissonant Fractal is obviously the card that actually got banned, is the one that actually affects the metagame right now. I think Dissonant Fractal is the best card in the Fractal deck, which is obviously the reason why they would ban it. One of the frustrating things about the deck was how consistent it was when you saw Dissonant Fractal, you could look fork on your deep. I think it's interesting that they moved it straight to Category 3 without it being on the ban list beforehand. It feels a little disjointed to have a 3-category ban list and to not have it move up the categories, but on the whole, happy Fractals got hit. It's super present in the middle. Would be nice if Worlds is not 16 Fractal decks.
It did seem it was going to be like that, to be honest, if Fractals were kept untouched. About you, Christian, what do you think about it?
I'm not surprised. I was expecting Fractals to get hit somehow. I never thought of Fractals as like a tier 0 deck. Maybe it's just because of our local meta that we don't really play into it too much. No one really plays it here. I don't feel its influence as much. You know, I've heard, people complaining about Fractals for a while now, and especially with their tournament, the current tournament results, Nats finished for the USA and their results were pretty high in terms of, showings for Fractals. So yeah, makes sense to me. I'm not like frustrated about it at all. I agree with Nathan. It's a bit weird that they just shot it straight up to 3, but I guess I'm not too bothered by it.
I'm not a Fractal player, but if I were, I didn't get much warning that this ban happened, or I didn't get warning that this was the way that my deck would be hit. When they added Clarent to Proxy's Vault and they moved Crystalline Mirror to Category 1, it felt like we're adding a card that counters fractals or an archetype that counters fractals, and hopefully that will reduce Fractal's presence. And if not, the backup plan is to ban Crystalline Mirror, which is another card that this deck plays and uses quite well. And then instead, they realized Clarent wasn't enough, and they maybe are worried that Fractals is going to take over the world's meta, so we'll ban another card. And instead of banning Crystalline Mirror, they decided to ban a card that wasn't even on the watch list at all. And so as a Fractal player, I would be a bit concerned that, if I was prepping to bring to Worlds, I'm expecting maybe my deck will be hit, but Crystalline Mirror will be hit, and I can play around that these ways, and instead this other card got hit, and I was caught completely unprepared. I feel like the category system to me should be the forewarning that you get, where when Icebound Slam got banned, right, it was in Category 2 for a while, and so if you bought Icebound Slams beforehand, you knew that you were running the risk of the card getting banned. If you're building the deck, you knew you were running the risk of that specific card being banned, and that was what's going to get hit if they're going to hit this deck. The actual ban, I'm completely fine with, but the speed or the uncertainty of how it happened does feel a bit disjointed.
Maybe this is another thing as well. This card is a common. It was just look, it's not going to cost you anything in a sense. It's HV and it's a common. It's very accessible. Icebound Slam, I think, was the one card. Well, sorry, forgot. Reckless Conversion also was an SR. Icebound Slam was also an SR. I would be a bit more concerned if it's gone from outside straight into a Category 3, is if it's a rarity thing.
I mean, that's when money's on the line, right?
It's like I'm buying this card. People are gonna look at Zhang Jiao, for example, right? Now are people a bit more reluctant to buy it, maybe? Just going oh, this card is pretty powerful. It might be on the ban list somehow. It could jump up.
They're probably doing it now as late as they can because, the national
it's the end of the season.
Over.
Yeah. It's also the end of a normal season, right?
And it's also a new card as well. So since it's a new card, banning it so quickly without it, seeing play could be a bad thing too.
Well, I think they were also hoping that Clarent was enough, right? If Clarent's enough, then they don't need to ban this and it's fine.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I could see argument. I've heard people say Glimmering Refusal should be in the card as well, and I agree to that to a certain degree as well. Dissonant Fractal, Glimmering Refusal, it had to be one of those two.
But Glimmering Refusal was also a recollection card. I think they're slightly more hesitant to ban the recollection cards than they are main set cards.
That could be a thing as well, but look, we'll see how it goes, right? We still have Clarent. I don't think any of us think Fractal is a bad deck now. I think the deck is still pretty decent.
The interesting thing about this ban, right, as far as actual metagame impact, is that as much as Dissonant Fractal is probably the best card in that deck, it's also a card that has jobs that can kind of be rebuilt. or replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that you care about is fractal count, and then the glimpse you can kind of just, you lost a little bit of consistency.
The deck has definitely gotten weaker, but it's not unplayable by any means. Starting with a triple fractal start is going to be less likely, but it's not impossible still. You still draw 3 2-drop fractals and you get the same result. You know, people might have to start like substituting it for, I don't know, Fractal of Refreshment or something, so it's still got that cycle in it. There's still the Grail into Scepter play with what's her name? You know, those plays still exist. Like, there hasn't been any play that has like disappeared from the deck aside from Fractal of Rain into like customizing your floating memory.
It's sad for me to say this, but I think it's a Quicksilver Grail deck now because
Always has been, mate. Always has been.
I don't think it was. Nah, I'm a
People
GCR.
have been playing GCR in
I
that
know,
deck as much as I love Grail in that deck, but
Let's just say Dissonant Fractal wasn't banned. Would you ever think of hitting one of the 3 damage cards in the deck? So either Burst Asunder, Refracting Missile, or Shimmering Refraction? Because, you know, if you take away one of those cards, like, the deck is significantly weaker. Like, obviously the biggest one would be Burst Asunder going. But I don't know, what do you guys think of that?
I can't imagine hitting Shimmering Refractions. I think that card is too interesting for Diao Chan's identity, and getting rid of it would be like really, really sad for her as a champion.
I agree, yeah.
Refracting Missiles, I could see going, but it's kind of like, it's been kind of like a staple water piece that has always been just fine. Like, it's been really good in some decks, but like, it's never been like super, super broken. And then I think Burst Asunder I could definitely see hitting, but I wouldn't want to ban it because I think the card is actually really interesting. I know Weeb says like, doesn't really like errataing their cards, but if you just like errated it to be like, as an additional cost, sacrifice X fractals.
Like a stratagem, pretty much you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the card is fair, and like, still lets you play this interesting kill lines, or these interesting kill line decks. Like, it doesn't feel unfair to play against, but they like actually have to commit an all-in the same way that most decks in the game have to actually commit their win condition to win the game.
Like, I think the strongest card that they could have banned, like, out of those 3, I would think it's Shimmer, but again, I agree with Nathan. It kind of like kills the identity of Diao Chan. Burst would be a card that you consider banning, but again, like, I think it's banning it because it's poorly designed, in my opinion. Being able to just play it for 2 mana. Here's my card, like, do you have an answer? Nope, you're dead. You have an answer? Okay, I stop. It just feels very weird for a basic element card to be that strong. But I think I wouldn't like to see them any of those hit, to be honest.
Okay. Do you think that we'll see the deck in Worlds?
Yes.
I think so too.
I think Gauntlet, definitely. I don't know about Worlds. I think Gauntlet.
I would be shocked if there was not a single player playing the deck at Worlds.
Same. I'd be shocked.
Okay.
I actually, so we talked about like in our own chat about the tiers and how this ranks with the other decks now. What did you say, David? It's like tier 1.5 or something?
I said 1.5. I said it's a 1.5.
And I think Nathan, you like inclined to agree, like tier 1.5. I think it's like tier 1.1.
I think especially given the number of players that qualified to Worlds playing Fractals, like, you're already comfortable in the deck, you have reps, you know most of its matchups, you know how Dissonant Fractal is going to affect your matchup spread. Like, you were already playing it versus Clarent probably for at least 2 of the nationals. Like, it's just a good option for enough of the players that someone will bring it for sure. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was like a top 4 presence deck at Worlds.
I think the build has to change a little bit. I do like Yamakin's list. I said Melbourne. I think that's the way Fractal is going to be played. It's around like more allies, Fractal package.
Is it true? 'Cause I think recent lists have been cutting Gildas. And
Yes, yeah.
playing to more
I think the
control.
recent release have been cutting Gildas, but I think you got to go back into Gildas. Allies are strong. I'm just going to say, allies are good.
Interesting.
Allies is like, this is why we play this game, allies.
I think we've spent enough time on Dissonant Fractals and Fractals.
Cool.
So why don't we move down to the category 2 cards?
Let's talk about more Fractal cards, which is great. Yeah, so
it's all-
category 2.
Crystalline Mirror got moved to category 2.
I agree. It is a bit too strong in terms of like just being a tool that you can just pull out of the material deck and then it'll just do something that will just win you the game. It's a bit too easy to use right now, so that's why it's up here. Like, I'm sure they had in mind that, oh, maybe Fractals and Fantasias might not be that good, but they are, so this card is really good.
What they've said about this card makes sense. Like, what we just said about this card. Like, this card doesn't fit the identity of Water, in my opinion. Like, Water should not destroy, like, a Regalia.
Then they should ban Fracturize. That's all I'm saying. Ban
Well,
Fracturize.
like, Fracturize turns them into a rock. Like, maybe if this turns it into a rock, maybe it's more fitting, but, like...
That's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
it literally says, like, destroy target Regal item with memory cost 0, reserve cost of 3. You know what else has that text? Reduce the Ash. That's just saying.
I don't know how much I care about the identity. I get that like fire destroys things and wind bounces them, and I guess water is turning them to rock.
Turns them to a rock. They just turn them into a rock and then that's it.
I guess for me, I've like sometimes I build a lot of bad decks, and some of them are like very reliant on Regalia. And so like this card is like really, really strong. Like being able to interact with, or a lot of these bad decks also like lose to certain Regalia, and being able to essentially destroy Regalia for free is really, really good, and being able to do it every game without affecting your consistency on your main board is like at the cost of one sideboard slot, or one material deck slot, which is sometimes expensive for a deck, but you know, this deck has a decent amount of space 'cause it's a level 1 champion. Like the only other card I believe that destroys items or Regalias from the material deck is Alkahest, which requires you to be level 4+. And if you just look at the difficulty of getting to level 4 versus getting 3 Fantasia out, it's like it's not comparable, at least, you know, given how
Yeah, Rye's not that good.
playing fractals is generally an upside. So you get rewarded for doing something you were going to do anyway.
Yeah, I agree. This card going to 2, but let's move on to the big one. Lost in Thought.
It's a big one.
Category 2. Please ban this card. Like, I'm just gonna start there. Please ban this card. This card is so stupid.
It's fast floating for 0 mana. What are you talking about? It's perfectly
Yeah,
balanced.
yeah, perfectly balanced. Perfectly balanced with that 2/3 ally that banishes a floating and draws you a card.
Also,
becomes a 3/4.
just because sometimes it's a draw 2 or draw 3 or sometimes draw 7 doesn't mean it's that strong, okay? Like, just because you can choose when to make it like that doesn't make it that strong, right?
yeah,
Just because
no,
it's
totally.
generic
This card is
floating
fine.
as well. Like, why is it generic
Generic.
floating?
I think like there's a screenshot of me reacting to when this first got spoiled, and it's just like me saying like, is this like the most broken card they've ever printed? This card came out at a time when people were playing Exercise Curse in their main board. Like with 2 mana, fast speed floating was like the baseline for like a playable card, and then they just gave us access to 0 mana fast speed floating that sometimes has ridiculous upside. And then especially like in this game, there's such a premium on fast speed cards that do literally anything. Like especially in water, being able to punish your opponent for not forcing you to interact is such an absurdly broken mechanic, because like you hold up a counterspell, and then if they don't make you play a counterspell, you play Lost in Thought for 2, and it's stupidly strong. Stupidly strong. So
Except 2. 2 is acceptable. 2 is acceptable. You go Lost in Thought for 2, that's acceptable. Lost in Thought for like 4, you're like,
Lost in Thought for 2 is still a careful study
That's a
or a
+1,
bleeding card or a Ghost
yeah.
of Pendragon. It's still
It's
crazy,
still a plus
crazy.
More
one.
than a
It's
plus
still
one.
a plus one.
Plus
It's
1
still a
with
plus one.
floating. Okay?
Yeah.
Like that's absurdly broken.
It's still a plus 1, but at least I don't know, like deep down, I'm like, look, he just played the Ghost of Pendragon. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
It's
fine.
fine. He just played the. He just
It's not
played
on a
the Ghost of
3/4
Pendragon.
body. It's not even that good.
He played a Ghost of Pendragon that lets him materialize Dawnblade for free next turn. Okay?
And then played the Ghost of Pendragon
Yeah,
into
yeah.
a 2/4.
But
Yeah.
like,
No,
yeah,
I think-
I'm with you, David. I think this card should just disappear. It's not even at its best in the fractal deck. It's like its applications in the fractal deck are just like as simple as I'm putting this down to play a Frostborn, or maybe I'm just cycling other Lost in Thoughts because I have too many. Like it's hardly ever good in in that deck, but in the decks that it's good in, like any mill deck, it's absolutely amazing. Like it's too strong.
The problem is, like, sometimes this card will just read win you the game, which is a pretty good card to have in your deck.
Yeah.
But then when it doesn't say win the game, its baseline is really, really good. Like, it also is a card that doesn't brick. Like, if you open 4 of these in your open hand, in your opening hand, it just says cycle itself as well. Like, you just banish one, you play another one, you draw another card, and you just cycle it, and it's completely fine. So it's a card that is just too good at too many things, and I think very few people will be sad to see it go. And I especially am happy to see it go because I happen to have a CPR and I was thinking about buying a playset, but now I can just keep my one and be happy that I have a for the collection, you know? And I never have to worry about getting more.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, like, Christian and I played in DOA format. We played with cards called Sword of Avarice and Reckless Conversion, respectively. Like, Christian is the right player, plays Reckless Conversion. I've played with Sword of Avarice. I remember those days where we would recollect with like 10 cards in hand in DOA, and that was broken back then, and they banned it because it was like, it wasn't fun. Lost in Thoughts is in that same category, in my opinion. Like, when my opponent goes Lost in Thoughts for +4, you just go, cool. Like, this game is just dragging on. Like, I'm like, what's your influence? Like 10? Cool, thank you. Like, I have to play around 10 cards while you have like just board control and everything. It just feels so wrong. The fact that all 3 of us are in agreement is a rarity already. So we want this card gone.
You want to talk about Mercury? I don't really have much to say about
I'm actually kind of shocked that it is a cat one, but I'm not a Zen, like, I'm not an assassin.
I built a lot of assassin decks. And the card is really, really good. The card is definitely very, very strong. A lot of its use was just like, you play it at level 1, you play Sadi, you kill a 2/3. That's a huge swing, you get agility 3. And then it was also obviously very good at blazing throwing your opponent 4 damage, which is, I think, a lot of the actual power of the card. But generally speaking, just like being able to give your champion 1 power for a turn. It's just like free sort of seeking whenever you want it for a turn is very versatile. So I can see why it's strong. I'm curious as to what the versatility they're talking about is, because I don't think there's that many cards that synergize well with Mercblade right now. So if they have more mechanics that interact with regardless of items you have, like maybe they're printing a Ghost of Pendragon for Assassin, and it turns out that's not okay to have Mercblade in your deck when you have that a card like that.
Hold up.
But yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised to see it move up to Cat 1, because I didn't think that Mercblade was seeing play at a problematic level.
Yeah.
And that's not always why cards go up on the ban list. But like, if you look at Fire aggro, like Fire Xander is not the prominent aggro list. Fire Tristan is not the prominent aggro list. It's all like Lorraine and, you know, there's some Suzaku around. And then like the Luxem lists that are using Mercblade, like Mercblade is not the reason why those lists are doing well.
I've never seen it brought out in front of me and be like, oh, that card is broken. That card is too strong. So there must be some sort of like card they're printing in the future that's like, I don't know, unlimited blade works and copy any weapon you bring out this turn 10 times.
I've definitely been on the other side of that and thought like, man, this, like, I've put it out and been like, thank God this card is my material deck, or I've looked at my material deck and been and thought like, damn, why didn't I put Mercblade in this list? But yeah, I don't think it feels oppressive or strong. It's just like a squirrel from your material deck, right? You just bring it out, and sometimes 1 damage is really, really important.
Free squirrel, yeah.
Yeah, like look, I'm actually kind of, like I said, I'm a bit surprised that this card is in Cat 1, but yeah, there's obviously something in the future that maybe we don't know about.
I mean,
maybe
they've put cards on the watch list for, you know, because they're watching it. So it doesn't mean it's gonna get banned anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at Chalice of Blood. Like Jin is that card represents Jin. Like it's category 2. And Dream Fairy, that's been a card for. That's been there for a while.
Yeah, Jono said it before, but shout out to Dream Fairy for holding the fort, just being on the fucking watch list for like 15 years or something, just sitting there.
I think Dream Fairy has been there since like the initial one.
Dream Fairy is the welcome out to the who's the ferryman to the underworld or something? It's Dream Fairy. Sits there and welcomes all the banned cards to the death. Yeah.
Charon or something.
Like,
yeah.
Dream Fairy like takes all these cards and goes, yes, this is where you will live the rest of your life. Yes.
So I guess that wraps up what we think about the ban list. So you know, if you guys have any disagreements or wants to ask us any questions about it, you know, please leave a comment, and then yeah, we'll try to get back to you about that. Hopefully, we want to try have regular content. So you know, obviously we've got work and things like that, but we're going to try our best to make sure that the Sydney scene grows and you guys get to know us a bit more. So all right, peace out, guys. Take care. Bye.